What's going on, world? You're now tuned in to Starstruck Media. I'm your host, Tango Tony, back with another episode of Insight. And today, we have a producer repping Long Island, aka Strong Island. Let's welcome to the show, Trilled Up Beats. How you doing?
Hi. Yes, I'm Trilled Up Beats.
Okay, what's up? I just want to thank you for coming on the show and chopping it up with me. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. So let's go ahead and get right into it, all right? So let's start from the beginning. Let's say, how did you get into producing and how long have you been producing?
So I've been producing since I was 15 years old, and what made me get into producing was that, I come from a family that's all about music. Like, my dad, he hanged around Nas, Mobb Deep, like all of the New York rap legends. And my dad, he had this CD with a bunch of like instrumental beats, because back then rappers, they had to producers, they had to put all their beats on CDs, and they were literally selling their beats on CDs. So I used to listen to it every single day. And then, I got inspired by YouTube producers, because, a lot of producers, a lot of producers are inspired by, Swizz Beatz, Kanye West, a lot of all the legendary producers, but I was inspired by YouTube producers.
So, like, how impactful would you say your reproductions of, like, Welcome to the Party and Meet the Woo by Pop Smoke were for you earlier in your career?
So basically, I don't know, I reproduced it because I have an ear for music. So every time I listen to music, I'm like, you know what, I have to repeat that. Like, I have an ear, so I copy the 808s, the hi-hats, and that producer who originally produced it, Axel Beats, that's my favorite producer. Like, I remember when I created my first drill beat and I emailed it to him, he was like, oh my gosh, it's so fire. So that just motivated me to get into producing drill again after listening to Pop Smoke.
Okay, so you being a producer with a few years under your belt, also I see like you're a YouTube partner. So would you say, in your opinion, that like making like type beats or reproductions of beats are more important early in your career, or would you say like trying to be more unique early on is more important?
So I recently stopped doing type beats because I feel like, when you do type beats, it's a lot of competition because there's millions of other producers that's doing type beats too. But type beats did help the start of my YouTube channel reaching up to 1,000 subscribers. I would say that type beats did give me a name on YouTube, and it did get me a little known by underground artists because of me doing type beats. But I recently stopped doing type beats because I've been trying to find what's Trilled Up Beats sound.
So how would you describe your unique sound then?
So basically, I feel like my beats are getting more unique because I'm understanding music theory a lot. So basically, I take digital music production at my university, so that those courses really place an impact and a huge difference when it comes to me creating and making beats, because I just expanded my mind on music theory just by taking those classes, and I feel like my beats are becoming more complex because, a lot of type beats I used to make when I was 15 years old, it was basic, one melody, hi-hats, and now my beats are becoming more complex, a different sound, a different change.
So do you feel like you going to school for really gives you a leg up and is going to actually propel you further in the industry? Would you say that? I
mean, I could have been in the music industry and not go to college because my dad and my aunt, they have connections in the industry, but the thing is that I chose not to use their connections and just, create my own connections. Like a lot of, I would say like, I didn't ask my dad or my aunt for like those connections because I felt like I didn't want a free handout. Like I wanted to make a name for myself. I wanted to go and get those networks, reach those different connections from different producers. But me taking DMP course, I just feel like it's just gonna expand like on different genres of music and the courses I'm taking for digital music production is not only focused on rap, it's focused on different varieties of music genres that I wouldn't have saw myself produce, and now my mind is expanding on different genres. It's always been diverse, but to create.
Okay. Do you actually know how to play the keys? Or do you kind of like more self-taught, or what's your style?
I did take piano lessons when I was younger, and I used to play the violin, so I do have a little knowledge, and I do have a little knowledge of playing the keys and the violin. So
okay, so definitely a musical background for sure. Who would you say are your top 5 producers of all time?
My top 5 producers?
Yeah.
I would have to say it's Swizz Beats, Timbaland, Swizz Beats, Southside.
Okay.
I said Timbaland, Swizz Beats, Southside. I would have to say Pierre Bourne. I would have to go with Michael Almeida too.
Okay, that's a good list right there. So who would...
Mike Dean. Mike Dean,
okay. So as far as like a dream, like say like a dream collaboration for you, like if you could work with any artist, who would it be? And then also on the flip side, if you could collaborate with any producer, who would that be?
The artist I would love, like my dream collab is Nicki Minaj, because like her bars, her lyrics, like she's the definition of rap, rhythm and flow. And the producer, I would love to produce with Timbaland.
Okay, so it sounds like Timbaland really had a huge influence on you. Where do you see yourself in a year?
Where do I see myself in a year? I see myself having my own personal like music studio, like a business, and just making profits from there. Just me connecting with 2 music producers and us just going the entrepreneur side of having a music studio.
Who are some artists that you have worked with?
So I've worked with Steph Raymond. He's been an artist for probably like 3 years, but I worked with him. I don't know, like a lot of artists, they buy my beats on Airbit, so I'm not pretty sure who, but I know like I do get the Airbits revenue saying, oh, someone purchased your beat.
If you could give a piece of advice to someone who's just starting out as a producer, like at that starting point, what would it be?
So basically, the best advice I would give an upcoming producer is to find your own sound. Don't try to make type beats. Don't try to fit the trends. Don't try to make certain beats for one specific artist or one specific genre. Like dive into multiple varieties of genres and just have diversity on creating beats. Don't stick to one genre. Don't stick to making beats for 3 artists. Like dive in and be creative.
Do you use loops at all?
Do I use loops? I only use loops when I collab with producers, but my own personal beats, like I self-create them. Like I create melodies just by going on the keys, and sometimes I use my keyboard keys because I understand.
Okay, I got you. I mean, that definitely gives you a level of versatility, you know, so that's definitely dope. You say your dad and your aunt both have connections already in the industry. I mean,
and my family, like my family too, but most definitely my dad and especially my dad, because yeah.
So that's definitely different. That like you don't want to take advantage of that, because I'm sure the average person would be like, "You crazy?" Like, I mean, because you could be. I mean, it sounds like you could be out of here, you know, like just like a different level right now. But you saying I don't want to take that route. So I mean, that's a different mindset. Could you like speak on that more?
So basically, I just feel like, you know, I want to go and make a name for myself. Like I do. My aunt was like this, like my aunt told me, send me beats so I can send it to, you know, and I'm inspired and motivated by that artist. Like that's my favorite artist. But the thing is that it's like, you know what? I want to make a name for myself so that artist can come and say, you know what? I want beats from Trilled Up Beats. You know, I don't want like someone like, okay, I'm going to accept because I know her aunt, I know her dad, you know, because my dad, he manages artists too. But the thing is that with my dad, it's kind of hard because he don't want me to, you know, he wants me to focus on college. That's how come he wouldn't give me those connections, you know, because a lot of people, they like, go to your dad. And I'm like, you know what, I want to do it by myself because I know like he been in the industry, so he understands like the mindsets and what goes on and what happens, you know, and you know, when you have parents that's inside the music industry, like you can ask even celebrities, they wouldn't want their children inside that, you know. So I'm still gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it on my own.
I respect that a lot. You know, you're definitely taking your own path to get to where you want to be. So I definitely salute you for that. I mean, it definitely seems like you've really been locking in the studio and really trying to like tap into you and like who you really are as a producer. So, you know, that's definitely dope to see. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all my questions. I really appreciate you taking the time to chop it up with me on the show. So yeah, links in the description will be available to all our social media accounts. So go show some love to Trilled Up Beats. Thank you again for being on the show. And that's another episode of Insight. I'm Tango Tony, Trilled Up Beats, and we out.